I survived the graveyard shift. Barely. There are things in life people just shouldn't do for money. Selling your body or your soul usually top the list. But what I did for money will make those seem like a walk in the park. It all started after COVID. Like most people, I was working remotely, and thankfully, my job had made the transition smoothly. Paychecks kept coming in. Life was steady, or so I thought. But then came the divorce. It started out civil, clean, until the house sold. We were supposed to split the profit 50-50. Somehow, she walked away with more than half, a lot more. Around the same time, my company decided to relocate to another state, and they cut my department. Downsizing, they called it. I got a decent severance package, packed up what I had left, and moved back to East Texas, where I still had some family. I thought it was a fresh start. I tried to open my own business, but I spent more than I planned, and the bills didn't care. I needed a job. Fast. Then I saw it. A handwritten flyer taped inside a gas station window. Night manager needed. Inquire within. I went inside. Thought I'd be working right there. Friendly place. Good flow of customers. Seemed easy enough. The manager didn't say much, just handed me a number and told me to call to set up an interview with their HR director. Looking back now, that was the moment I should have walked away. The HR manager was a perky little blonde. You know the type. Probably did pageants as a teen. All teeth, tan, and sugar-sweet enthusiasm. Her voice was chipper, but something about the way she spoke felt rehearsed, like she was reading from a script written to keep people from asking too many questions. She told me the job was just outside a small town called Pine Hollow, about 15 minutes south of where I was renting. They're expanding rapidly, she said, eyes wide like she was pitching a dream. It's a great location, right off the highway. We're expecting major traffic. Then she slid a manila folder across the desk and flipped it open with perfectly manicured fingers. Charts, numbers, projections. Typically, managers make 20% commission off the store, she said with a smile, but we're offering you 25% as part of our new development incentives, plus full benefits and a $4,000 hiring bonus paid on your very first check. I paused. That was a lot. Too much, honestly, for managing a backwoods gas station and convenience store overnight. It felt too good to be true. We really want to get this place launched, she said. Red flag number 2. But the truth was, I needed the money. I needed that bonus. So I ignored the knot forming in my stomach and told myself it was just good luck. I asked her, "Do these places get robbed a lot?" She gave a quick, polite laugh, like I'd just asked something adorably naive. "Oh no," she said, waving it off. "Our brand has a very special relationship with both the state and local police. They always check in during the night, and their response time is the fastest in the region." She said it with this proud little smile, like I should have been impressed. But the way she emphasized special relationship stuck with me. We drove out to the store so she could introduce me to the daytime staff. Pine Hollow was small, real small. Honestly, there were more trees than people. The gas station itself was big, surprisingly modern for such a remote area. It sat about 2 miles off the main highway, surrounded on all sides by thick pine forest. "They've got signs out on the road to guide traffic," she said cheerfully, "so getting customers won't be a problem. It's just all these trees." And she wasn't kidding. You couldn't see the place until you were practically on top of it. "You really can't see the gas station before the trees," I joked. She chuckled politely, but didn't say much else. I was still on the fence. The store looked clean. The staff seemed friendly. But something about the location, the way the forest swallowed the place whole, it just felt wrong, like the trees were hiding it on purpose. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket. I slipped it out discreetly. Bank, calling again, probably about the car payment. I hadn't picked up the last 2 times. In that moment, I did the math in my head. $4,000 meant back rent plus car note equals paid, and maybe even enough to breathe again. When she turned to me, all smiles, and said, "Well, the job's yours if you want it," I didn't even pause. "Yeah," I said, "I'll take it." I did 2 weeks of paid training at the store during the day, just like they promised. And sure enough, my first check had that $40,000 bonus on it. I couldn't wait to call the bank. "Take your damn money and leave me alone," I muttered as I hit send. My leasing office, they were thrilled. I even paid a month ahead. For the first time in a while, I could breathe. The job itself was simple. I showed up 15 minutes early to relieve the day manager. I'd direct the staff to empty trash and clean up while the day manager counted down the drawer and organized the receipts. The night deposit bag had to be sealed and ready. An armored car picked it up around the time my shift officially began. That part was important. Nobody could leave until the money was counted and secured. The store was huge, split into 2 main sides. At night, we shut down all the pumps on one side, locked those doors, and funneled everyone through the other half. That's where I spent most of my time, standing near the counter, watching cameras, occasionally helping the few late-night customers pump gas. By 7:05 p.m., the day crew would start peeling off, headed for home. I figured it was just the usual, long shifts, ready to crash. I didn't think much of it. But then came the night that changed everything. It started when the drawer came up short. Just $38, but you'd think someone had pulled a gun. The entire day shift stiffened. You could feel it, this wave of unease, like someone flipped a switch. That's when I noticed Derek, one of the teenage clerks. He kept looking at his watch, pacing. His eyes darted to the door every few seconds. "Did you find it yet?" he asked, practically vibrating with anxiety. No one answered. By 7:00 p.m., Derek looked like he was about to crawl out of his skin. I caught him whispering to Jim, the day manager. Something about sunset, something about what they found at the Smith farm on the other side of town. I didn't catch all of it, but I did notice the way Jim's hands started shaking, and when the clock hit 7:04, Jim didn't hesitate. He pulled $40 from his own wallet, sealed the deposit bag, and walked it to the truck without another word. The whole crew left in a hurry. No goodbyes, no small talk, just eyes straight ahead and doors locking behind them. That should have been the moment I walked too, but I didn't, and after that night, nothing was the same. I poured myself a large coffee from the store's deluxe coffee bar, part of my nightly ritual. A little hazelnut creamer, 1 sugar, and a solid light roast. I lit a cigar I'd been saving and started my usual walk-through, sipping and puffing casually as I made my rounds. The job wasn't bad. Easy, even. This was good. Quiet nights, decent pay, nobody breathing down my neck. The closed section of the store was massive, a whole second side shut down after 7. The lights to the signage and awnings were switched off, casting that entire half of the lot into near total darkness. That's where I'd usually go to watch the sunset. From there, I had a clear line of sight across the front parking lot and to the tree line just beyond. The sun was just dipping below the horizon, throwing streaks of burnt orange and dusky purple across the tops of the pines. It was my favorite part of the shift, the quiet, the solitude. For a few minutes, it felt like I was the only person on earth. I leaned against the railing, puffed slowly, and took it all in. That's when I saw them, 2 faint yellow orbs glowing low in the tree line. They were small at first, almost flickering. Lightning bugs, I thought. No big deal. Happens all the time out here. But then something struck me. They weren't flickering, they weren't moving, and they were way too high off the ground. I narrowed my eyes, trying to focus, but just like that, they were gone. No rustling, no movement, just gone, like they'd blinked out or never existed at all. I stood there a moment longer, trying to shake the feeling crawling up my spine. Then I turned, took one last drag of my cigar, and headed back inside. By around 8:30, Officer Black came in, like he usually did. We greeted each other, shared a bit of our usual back and forth. He poured himself a coffee from the machine without saying much. Normally, we'd shoot the breeze for a bit, talk about local gossip, bad drivers, or the sorry state of the Cowboys' offensive line. But tonight, he was different, tense, focused, barely made eye contact. Sensing something was off, I asked casually, "Hey, what's going on with that Smith farm? I heard something weird happened out there." He stopped stirring his coffee. His face dropped. All the joking left the room. "There's some unique wildlife around here," he said slowly. "If you see something unusual, don't investigate. Don't go outside. Don't try to be a hero." He looked me dead in the eyes. "Just turn off all the lights, stay low, and call us. Got it?" I nodded. He tossed his stirrer, dumped some creamer in his cup, and walked out without another word. I watched his patrol car peel off down the road, tires kicking up dust. That's when I realized he didn't finish his coffee, and he never left that fast. Everything was normal until 2 a.m. I was in the back coolers checking stock, just doing what I always did. I was pulling outdated items, shifting shelves, scribbling down inventory, routine stuff. One of the soda bottles slipped from my arm and exploded on the tile in the closed section of the store, the side we kept dark at night. Damn it, I muttered. I grabbed the mop, flipped on the lights in that half of the store, and headed over to clean it up. The entire space lit up in a sterile, humming white glow. I was alone, or so I thought. The double glass doors were about 20 feet behind me. I crouched to scrub the sticky mess, muttering to myself, trying not to get it on my shoes. That's when I heard it. A growl, low, thunderous, and wrong. It didn't sound like a dog. It didn't even sound like something that belonged in nature. It sounded like weight, like muscle and rage, barely restrained. I froze. Slowly, stiffly, I stood and turned around. And that's when I saw it. Standing just outside the glass doors was a thing straight out of nightmare. A towering figure, 8 feet tall, easy. Its body was covered in coarse, matted black fur, but it wasn't just hair. Beneath it, I could see thick cords of muscle rippling, twitching, like it was ready to pounce. Its shoulders were unnaturally broad, its arms too long, ending in huge hands, tipped with curved black claws that looked like they could tear through steel. And the face. It was the head of a wolf. But wrong, exaggerated. The snout was longer, the teeth thicker, and its mouth hung slightly open, revealing a row of jagged, uneven fangs, some cracked and blackened like splintered bone. Its ears were tall, pointed, and twitching like radar dishes, and its eyes, my God, glowing sulfur yellow, burning like coals, and locked directly on me. Then it raised one massive hand and pressed it flat against the glass. The claws scraped and it slid down slowly, deliberately, not testing the surface, taunting me. And then it licked the door. A thick grayish-pink tongue, wide and grotesquely long, slithered from its maw and dragged across the glass. I could hear it, the wet, rubbery smear of saliva as it smeared a foggy trail, its breath steaming the glass with a smell like blood and wet copper. Thick strands of spit clung to its jagged teeth, and it never broke eye contact. It watched me like I was already half-eaten. I backed away, whispering, "Holy!" But the words died in my throat as it suddenly snarled, fangs bared, and let out a deafening roar that rattled the windows. The whole building seemed to vibrate. It leaned forward again, pushing at the door. That's when I snapped out of it. I killed the lights and ran full speed toward the front floor, praying the other entrance was still locked, because that thing outside, it wasn't just looking, it was choosing. The click of the front door locks didn't comfort me. If anything, it only reminded me how thin the barrier was between me and whatever that thing was. I gripped the mop like a bat, my knuckles white around the handle. It was a pathetic weapon, but it gave me some illusion of control, a false sense of security in a situation spiraling fast into nightmare. Then the shaking started. The doors behind me rattled hard. The creature was trying them. First one, then the other. Each attempt came with a deeper growl, like it was getting more and more agitated or excited. I stayed low, watching from across the store. If it got through, I'd bolt. The front door was my only way out, and my car was parked by the road, maybe 30 yards away. Too far. I fumbled for my keys, heart jackhammering in my chest, and hit the unlock button. Beep. If I had to run, I wasn't going to waste time dealing with door locks. I wrapped the keys tight in my fist. The creature froze. Then, slowly, it turned its head toward the sound. It heard it. It understood. And it began to move. It stepped away from the back doors and began circling the building, claws dragging along the metal siding with a high-pitched screech, slow and deliberate, like it wanted me to know exactly where it was, like it was stalking. I could hear every heavy footfall, the deep, dull thuds of something massive moving just outside. It was circling toward the front. It was trying to cut me off, trying to corner me, trying to make me run. I knew if I sprinted now, I'd never make it. It'd be on me before I hit the second row of pumps. I jammed the mop handle through the front door bars, wedging it tight, hoping it might buy me a few seconds, knowing deep down it wouldn't. Then I killed the lights. The store went black, the humming fluorescence dying with a soft pop. I dropped low and slid behind one of the center aisles, pressing my back to the shelves, every muscle in my body trembling. That's when I saw it. The shadow, long, distorted, crawled across the floor as the creature stepped into view through the glass doors. It stood there, hulking, its yellow eyes burning through the dark like lanterns lit with hate. Its lips peeled back, and a new sound rumbled from its throat. Low, deep, guttural, like a rusted engine turning over beneath a growl. I pulled out my phone and hit 911, but before the call could connect, the sound froze me in place. Metal groaned, twisting and snapping like bones, followed by the violent crash of shattering glass. It tore them apart. I clamped my hands over my mouth to stifle a scream, heart pounding like a war drum. Heavy, ragged breathing filled the space. 2 thunderous steps shook the floor. It was inside, blocking my only exit. Then it began to sniff the air, slow, deliberate. It was hunting, and it was close. Too close. I looked up and froze. In the convex mirror above aisle 4, I saw it. The creature. A towering silhouette of fur and muscle, its long ears twitching with surgical precision, scanning for the slightest sound. Its snout lifted as it sniffed the air. Slow, steady, focused. Hunting. It was waiting for me to breathe wrong. Then it inhaled, a deep, rattling drag of air that swelled its massive chest like a bellows. And then it roared. The sound was a nightmare, a guttural blast that shook the entire store. The floor vibrated, cans toppled, bottles shattered, light fixtures trembled overhead. A soda can clinked and rolled near me. I didn't move. Couldn't. The roar still echoed in my chest like thunder. With shaking fingers, I snatched the can and held it to my chest like a relic. My breath caught in my throat, my heart pounding so loud I was sure it would give me away. The beast turned its head. Now, I tossed the can into the unlit, abandoned section at the back of the store. It skittered across tile. The thing twitched, then lunged after it. I heard its claws dragging along the shelves, scratching across the walls like nails on bone. It was right beside me and moving past. Every muscle in my body screamed to run, but I waited. Slowly it moved past me. It breathed, was foul and heavy. Its tongue lapped its mouth, making a popping sound, creating an image of how large its mouth and teeth had to be to generate that type of volume. When its back was turned, I slipped to my knees and began crawling, broken glass crunching beneath me. I didn't care. I just had to get out. Then, my chance. I bolted. Glass bit into my hands as I pushed off the floor. I dove through the gaping hole where the door had once been, shattering more glass as I landed hard on the sidewalk. My knees screamed in pain, blood pooling instantly. But I ran. I could see my car. So close. Then I heard it. Crunch. The beast stepped onto the broken glass, not more than 10 feet behind me. Then 5. Then impact. It hit me like a truck, slamming me to the ground. All the air was torn from my lungs. I couldn't scream, couldn't breathe. Then the pain. Oh my God, the pain. Its claws sank into my back, deep, tearing through muscle and skin like paper. I felt hot blood gush down my sides, soaking my shirt in seconds. The scent of copper filled my nostrils. I screamed, but it was swallowed by the sound of its heavy breathing and the crunch of glass beneath us. And then I saw its face, inches from mine, snout curled into a grin, fangs glistening, eyes glowing like hellfire. It was smiling. Because it had me, and it knew I wasn't getting away this time. I saw my life flash before my eyes, not in peaceful snapshots or soft montages. No, these came in jagged flashes. My wife crying in the doorway, my son looking up at me with those eyes, the job I hated but needed, the moments I wasted thinking I had time. And now I was out of time. The creature's jaws clamped down, and I screamed. A sound swallowed by the monster's snarl. Its teeth felt like railroad spikes, tearing through skin, tendon, bone. My shoulder ripped open like wet cardboard. I punched, thrashed, useless. I wanted to hurt it, to poison it with my dying breath, to make it regret choosing me. But it didn't feel pain, and it enjoyed mine. Then came the claws. 4 hooked talons pierced my side. My ribs cracked. Warm blood gushed out like oil from a ruptured pipe. I couldn't scream anymore. I could barely think. So I prayed. Our Father, who art in heaven. But heaven felt a long way off. Then, gunfire. 1 shot. then 5 more. The weight lifted off me. The creature howled, no, shrieked, like a demon pulled from hell. A final gunshot, and it collapsed. I caught a glimpse through blood-caked eyelids. Officer Black standing over me, gun still smoking. "You're gonna make it," he said, kneeling beside me. "The ambulance is coming. Just hold on." I blacked out. When I woke up, 3 days had passed. The pain came first, everywhere. Then the memory, then the dread. The doctor stepped in. "You're lucky," he said, barely meeting my eyes. "If they hadn't killed that bear." "It wasn't a bear," I croaked. It was a..." He raised a finger to his lips. And then I saw him. A man in a black suit, no tie, standing silently in the corner. He stepped forward, pulled up a chair, turned it backwards, sat down like he owned the room. "You were attacked by a bear," he said, calm, cold, deadly. "I'm giving you 3 minutes. Say what you want. Ask what you want. Vent. Curse whatever. But at 3 minutes and 1 second, you'll repeat from now on. It was a bear that attacked you, and you're very lucky to be alive. Got it? Now, if you don't say that, we will know, and you'll wish that thing had finished the job." "Is that a threat?" I asked. "No," he replied calmly. "Threats carry a weight of uncertainty and incompleteness." Him saying this, definitively and with complete finality. His eyes locked with mine. I looked back, meeting his gaze, and I realized what I was going up against. A heavyweight, in any and all classes and skill sets. So I nodded in agreement, then asked him, "What was that thing?" "A Dogman," he said. "An apex predator. A natural one. They migrate through this region. That gas station was built in its corridor." He leaned in closer. "They were warned. They didn't listen. Now, our worst fear has happened, a human attack that didn't end in death, which is why I'm here. I'm your lifeline, and you're about to be a drowning man. I suggest you use this life preserver I'm throwing your way. We're relocating residents, quietly, for their safety." He stood up, brushed off his sleeves, and placed a card beside my IV stand. "Call this number tomorrow." Then exited the room. The next morning, I called. A man answered, calm, professional. He introduced himself as legal counsel for the gas station chain. He read a statement about liability, public relations, and confidentiality. Then came the offer. "We're prepared to offer you $250,000, plus full medical coverage for the next 3 years. In return, you'll sign an NDA. No interviews, no photos, no employment with our company, no mention of the event." I was quiet. Then I said, "Make it $1 million." There was a pause. "Done," he said. I took the job at that gas station in Pine Hollow because I was broke. Night shifts, quiet town, seemed simple enough. No one warned me about what hunts those woods. No one mentioned the Dogmen. The night it came, I should have died. Instead, I was bitten, clawed, and left half alive. They didn't call it a cryptid. They called it an apex predator. They called me a liability. I was still healing when I saw him on TV. Some slick developer grinning on the hospital TV. Pine Hollow Adventure Park, a rustic retreat for families to reconnect with nature. Cabins, trails, campfires, right there in its hunting ground. And I said nothing. I couldn't. Now it's 5 years later. The news breaks. 32 dead in Pine Hollow massacre. Bodies torn apart. Men, women, kids, half-eaten, torn apart. Gone. I didn't just sell my silence. I sold my spine, carved up by claws. I sold my walk for a cane I carry. And the pills I swallow just to sleep. I sold my soul for money I can't even spend without shaking. And the worst part, I knew what would happen to those people. So tell me, what's a life worth? Because I got $1 million and every cent tastes like blood.
That was It Enough Money? An original fictional tale brought to you by Obsidian Quill Publishing. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the horrors waiting each week. And if you're hungry for more, dive into the darkness with our full-length series, The Hunt for Dogman, Parts 1 through 8, and don't sleep on creepy cryptid tales. Available now in paperback and ebook wherever you buy your stories. This is Obsidian Quill Publishing. Born of shadow, inked with power, bound for legacy. Until next time, keep the lights on.